Hello, everybody! Welcome to the stream today. I'm super excited to chat about this exciting topic about defeating your dragons. And the really interesting part of today's stream is that I think recurring task in Notion is a very big topic that's been talked about by all sorts of creators in this space because simply Notion does not have a inbuilt recurring task manager. They don't let you schedule one task that keeps coming again and again and again. Every single time you have a new week, a new month, and so on. So there's a technical blockage there that doesn't let you do what you want with your own system. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is, even if you can create recurring tasks, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that sometimes the recurring tasks just build up and build up and build up. Even though they're there on your calendar, you don't necessarily have the motivation to go do them. So today, I'm going to explore exactly why that is and how can we build that motivation to go and do these little tasks that add up to become bigger things if we don't do them, right? These small little tasks become big dragons that we eventually loom over us and drain our productivity, drain our energy. So how can we go and stop that kind of behavior and ensure that we end up doing all the things that we're meant to do and not letting things build up and accumulate until they're impossible to slay. So let's switch over to the view and let's get started, shall we? So the idea is that if you don't take care of small things that come up daily, they'll eventually grow into big dragons that take up attention and are difficult to slay. So like I mentioned, we should change that. So why are we building this, right? Well, we talked about that a little bit already, but let's just remind us again, right? We don't we want to take care of the small administrative things that we have to do to make our lives better, but we need a simple and engaging way to see all of these tasks to do. Another thing is Notion does not have the technical capabilities to provide native recurring tasks, and thus we need to make a workaround. So I'll be very honest, this is still very much a workaround. There is a few manual steps that need to be done, but once you get over that, then it's going to be pretty easy. So I'm excited to show you guys what I have in mind. And let's talk about what is going to be the solution here. Well, we want to make sure that it's fun, right? So we want a dynamic quest list that shows you all the things you have to do on a specific date within a specific cycle. For example, we might want to water the plants every single Friday for every week without fail, for example. Another thing is we want a simple way that lets us see all of our recurring tasks and easily schedule for the next one when we are finished with our work. So I'm imagining this if you've ever played an RPG or been on any kind of those, large scale raids in an RPG. Essentially, there's certain quests that you can do once a week, and once you do it, you get a very large reward. And I want to keep that same methodology here because I think it's very, very important for you to be able to say like, hey, when I finish this, I'm going to feel great. And it's a once in a week opportunity for me to do this. And I'm going to make sure I take care of it. So things like taking care of your finances, right? Looking over your bank statements, things like watering your plants, things like even buying groceries. These are all very important things that you might want to do to make sure that your life stays on track and they don't grow into bigger things where, for example, your plant dies, and now you have to take care of that plant. You take care of the cleanup and buy a new plant or stuff like that. So it's very important for you to be very motivated to do these small little tasks. And some people will be better than others in this, and that's totally fine. I think that it's just important to make this whole exercise as fun as engaging as possible so that we end up actually wanting to do these things instead of dreading to do these things. So very important difference, okay? All right. So let's talk about the how. How are we going to build this, right? So I'm thinking of a few ways. I'm going to show you a few examples of how this could be built. It's completely up to you how you want to leverage this capability. But let me just show you a few hows that I'm going to, I've experimented over this week. So the first one I'd say is having a quest list that simply shows you all the things you have to do on a weekly basis. The second one is having a quest list that allows you to drag it into your success plan. Okay. And then the third thing is having a template that helps you see all your dragons and embark on a noble mission. So you can kind of see there's a few levels for progression that's going to make this really work out for you. So let's see how that works, okay? So let's go to the first one, and I want to show you what we already have in the L control system. So if we scroll down into the build your own system, you'll be able to see that we have a section here actually that shows you keep track of your weekly quests. So what this is, let me just quickly walk you through it because it's a very simple weekly quest tracker, but I'm going to show you the pros and the cons of using something like this. So for example, we have something like this that shows you all the things that you might want to do on a given week. And sometimes you have to do it once a week, sometimes you do it twice a week, sometimes you do it 5 times a week, sometimes you do it every single day, vitamins, right? And of course, you already know that if we have something that we do every single day, we might as well put it into our daily quest tracker, which if you watch any of our other videos, you'll be able to find that. But for now, we'll kind of see that, hey, that there is a certain cadence to doing our weekly quest like this. Okay, so if I check off things like I did my laundry, that's all done. Maybe I changed my pillowcase on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then that's all done. Maybe I vacuumed on Mondays and I vacuumed on, let's say Friday. And you can kind of see that maybe Friday here and then also Saturday, and I get bonus points. So it's very interesting when we start planning it out like this, where we can start seeing that these are certain ways that we can keep track. But it's nothing really different from like a to-do list that you put on your refrigerator door, or it's not. And it's also not very meaningful because you don't actually end up saving this data for you to look back on in the future. So what I want to show you here, what I'm going to show you a different way, is because I want it to be built into your success plan, that when you do these weekly quests, you're actually progressing in life, and most importantly, also syncing up with the gamification module that we have inside our system that helps you level up after you finish certain tasks. So let me delete all these things and let me show you from scratch how I would build something like that. I also want to show you another way that we've been thinking about doing this, and it's present inside our recurring workflows inside our review cycles. So if you go into here and you can see things like, for example, our recurring workflows, I just want to show you, like, for example, we have these little things that show us like on a weekly basis, we do our laundry and those are our workflows to get through those. Maybe we'll build our personal network. This is another way that we can see these things. These are all specific workflows that we think that we have to go through every single week or every single month as well. You can see in every single quarter. So we can also use this, and I'm going to show you, this is going to be the first part of what I'm going to show you. Let's flip back to show you. Having a quest list that simply shows you all the things you have to do on a weekly basis. We're going to start revamping our workflow to show you something like that, and then we're going to show you once again the downside of this way, and then how could we improve it. Okay, so if I open up the recurring workflows page, basically you can see that there's a bunch of workflows that we've done as an example. For example, we have like things like grocery runs or paying the bills or etc. etc. And what I want to show you is a way that you can start displaying this in more of a um, day by day fashion if you have something like that. So let me show you what I mean. Okay. So right now we have a frequency property. It's just a multi-select for weekly, monthly, or quarterly. Actually, this should probably be a single select, right? Because it's either weekly, quarterly, or monthly. But for now, let's keep it like that. I'm also going to create a new multi-select, or in this case, I'm actually just going to create a select. Multi-select is fine. We can call it day of the week. So this is for the people that have specific things to do on specific days, and it's especially important for them to do it on those days. So I'm going to just keep typing all the days of the week. And then we have all these days. And then now we have a single way that we can see exactly which day of the week that we want to do each of these things. And usually we only have time on the weekends anyways, right? But this is important for us to do. Why? Because now we're going to have a new view that's actually going to help us sort and filter by these specific days. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to build this out inside our views. So I'm going to just take a copy of this, or actually I'm just going to take this view, this template right here. I'm going to expand this. So I'm going to actually edit one of our views so that we can copy and paste it wherever we want later on, so to make it super simple. We're going to add a view here. We're going to add something called a board view. And we're going to group not by frequency, but by day of the week. So we already see that there is a very nice kind of layout for us Monday to Friday. And actually, I seem to be missing a few. There we go. Saturday and Sunday. And then what we can do is we can make the card size smaller, and then we can start dragging them around because we want to make sure that every single one has a specific date for us, at least if that's the way that you work, to make it so that we can go through and say, okay, on Tuesdays, these are my recurring things I need to do. I need to actually get them done. Otherwise, they'll become huge dragons that loom over me and it won't be a fun time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that we know the frequency of each of these things that we want to do. And just to make it look a bit prettier, we're going to make it medium size, even though it's going to start pushing this all the way over here. But that's fine. I'm also, if you want to, you can have the card preview show the contents, and then you can start see the check boxes for things you have to do as well. If you like to see it that way, I think that's pretty fun as well. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sort, because I think it's important to sort by the frequency. So then we can also see like all the weekly things up front. Okay, enough of that. So for me, I think investment calibration could come on Saturdays. We can also have laundry maybe on Fridays, right? Maybe you want to build your personal networks on Sunday so that on Mondays you can start reaching out to people if you need to. Learning reviews, I think that's always very good to do on a Sunday. So I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna drag this over to Sunday. And then you can just see, like, I'm showing you like just relevant examples, right? Getting to inbox 0 is definitely a Sunday thing to do. And then we might want to do a grocery run every, let's say, Friday. Maybe on every Friday of every month. That's very different, okay? Doing finance summaries, I think it's important for you to do it again on the same week or same day that you do your other finances. Paying bills, I think, can be that. And you can already start seeing, right? Like you already have, so Tim Ferriss has a really interesting way of doing this where he has specific dates that of the week that he does admin tasks. Like this is my admin day and I'm going to make sure I get all my admin headaches out of the way on this specific date. So you can see that that's very important where he's figured out on this specific date, I'm going to focus on one thing. I'm not going to have any multitasking so I don't lose my train of thoughts. And I'm also going to be able to do the things I'm meant to do because I'm going to build up an expertise in doing that thing if I keep doing it week after week. So very important stuff. Okay, so let's go over here as well. Decluttering room, maybe that's going to be a Wednesday thing. I don't know, just something that I'm thinking about. Maybe business goals is a Monday thing, and maybe up Just want to make sure I'm back. It seems like I crashed for a second there. Oops. Notion was too powerful. But definitely, let's get straight back into it and show you guys exactly how this might work. So, the idea is this, right? Every single day, we might have something new that we want to do. So let me add one right here. Let's say on Tuesdays, we might want to water our plants, okay? And then if we have water our plants inside here, we can basically say, okay, this is a weekly endeavor. And we're going to say for plant A, we want maybe the succulents. For succulents, we want to have 5 to 6 drops of water. Maybe for something like our, big leafy plants, we want to do half a cup of water. And maybe for our, like, I don't know, what other plants do you guys have? Maybe for your plant wall, you want 1 bucket of water. Just as an example, right? And then you can start seeing like this shows up here. So the idea that I'm trying to put in your guys' mind is to show you guys things that are meant to be done, and then you'll be going in there and you'll be checking them off. So for example, if I have something like this on my to-do list. So I'm going to show you if I go into our backend and views, and I'm going to go into one of our dashboards, right? Let's show you a dashboard like our Keep It Simple page or Make Life Simple page. We can go in here and we can see things like, well, we have all these quests that we could be doing, right? So I'm going to be adding one thing called the weekly quest. Let's add a toggle called weekly quest. And what I want to show, or recurring quests rather. And what I want to show you is a way that you can just paste it all into here. Oops, I actually just want to take the whole thing. So let me go into here. I'm going to take this view. I'm going to paste it into here. And then I'm going to show you like why this doesn't exactly work just out of the gates and what we might have to do to improve the situation, okay? So again, this whole idea of what I'm trying to do today with you guys is just show you all the different ways that you could be doing something so that you can make your recurring quests more fun. Okay, so I'm just trying to add a emoji here. Recycle emoji, fine. And then what we can do here is we can already see that if we sort it by a board view, we can see that there are certain things that we could be doing. Again, we can see all these different things. And if you want to, you could just make them not show all the page content, and that's fine. It becomes just things that you could be doing. And it's just really meaningful in a way where you can actually be able to see all these different things that you're meant to be doing. Okay, so now it's about time to show you like when you can start checking off complete things as done, right? Of course, you can check each thing off, but then it still shows on your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. And we want to make sure that when we're done, it doesn't show up until the next week that we have to do things, right? So I'm going to do a few things here to show you how that can be done. I'm going to first do something like this. I'm going to do a checkbox that shows done so that when we are done the whole task, we can check it off on the page itself and we can see that very clearly and we don't have to open the page to do anything. So that's the first thing I would do. Maybe put it at the bottom so we can check it done like that, okay? So what's important here actually is to ensure that it comes back every single week. So that's the first thing that we want to make sure. Like, so every single week we know that it comes back. And then also we also want to show ourselves different ways of, adding it to our workflow that we have to do. Maybe we have time to do it, but we need to know where to fit it in inside the specific dates that we want to do, or specific times even. Okay, so I'm going to now move to the next step of what I want to show you, okay, which is how do you add it into your workflow? So that's really important. So if I take this whole thing right now, okay, and I move it over to, let's say, my planning day, and let me move it over there because I think it's important to show you on that side. So I'm going to go into our backend and views and show you our planning dashboard. again, if you are familiar with our system, you already know we have a dashboard called Daily Planning. And the Daily Planning page is very, very nice for you to actually be able to go and add things from your mission board over to your active quest. So for example, you'd be able to go into your mission board here, right? And then you'd be able to add it into your active quest right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add something right here. I'm going to add this little toggle that we just had. And I'm also going to do one more thing here that's going to make this a bit more exciting. We talked about adding or visualizing your quests like dragons, right? And I imagine all of these things inside your mission board as dragons that are newly born, right? They're just out in the world, and if you don't let go of them, they're going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and scarier and scarier and scarier. They're going to end up being things that you have to work on at some point because they're just going to take up so much of your mental space, and they're definitely not going to be very good for your mental health if you have things always constantly on your mind that's making you unable to actually get things done. So that's very important, okay? We got to make sure we know how to solve that. So just as a fun experiment, right, I'm going to show you how you can add some very nice like little engagers to your workflow just to make them feel like they're more exciting. So what I'm going to do, and usually transparent images are best for this, I'm just going to search dragons. And of course, you can kind of put whatever dragon you want to. You put a cartoon dragon too if you want to. But just basically like a fun way to represent like, you know, a raid boss, right? Or if you will, or like just like this scary thing that's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger if you don't take care of it, you know, as fast as you can. So I'm just going to take a random one. I don't have any specific one I'm going to take. Let's see if there's one that could be more meaningful. Okay, I might just take one from my screen because I have one that is just from a childhood game I used to play called Maple Story. And it's just been a really nice reminder for me by using that. So let me just quickly grab mine from there, and then we'll move on as quick as possible. So let's go and grab that. Let's go into my personal planning. Actually, what does the family planning look like? Okay, that's the one. Okay, so personal planning, and I'm just going to add something here called Fight Your Dragons. But the more important thing right now actually is I want to make sure that I can create one more divider here. So if you guys aren't aware how to create a divider, if I just put like a space on the right, it won't actually add a divider. So what we need to do is to change this into a, well, I could put it on the right hand side here. Actually, let me just do that. So I'm going to put it on the right hand side here. And then I'm going to have a little thing called Fight Your Dragons, and then just make it a bit interesting here, where you can kind of see like, okay, so this is like a dragon that I need to fight. Again, just a really fun way of expressing all the things that you need to do. And then if you want to, this kind of just reminds like these are the scary things that you should work on, otherwise they're going to get bigger and bigger. Again, just depends if you want that kind of imagery, if that makes sense to you, and if that's exciting for you to do. So sorry, my face was blocking that. You can see it now. Anyways, what I want to show you is if you have recurring quests in a recurring workflow kind of way, and you can see all your different recurring workflows, correct? You can see all these things like this. And what you can actually do, I'm going to show you a few different views, okay? So this is the board view, but I'm actually going to show you something like this where you can have a list view. So I'm going to create a list view, and then this is a list of all the quests that you could be doing, correct? So what ends up happening here is what we could do is we can also show things like the day of the week for this to be done. And then we're also going to sort them first by day of the week. Then we're going to sort it by the frequency. Okay. So we can start seeing that, okay, so Monday we're going to do this, Tuesday we're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. So what we could do is we could just directly drag into our active quest. But I'm going to show you why that's not a good thing. Okay. So let's say I drag it into our active quest. Let's say, let's say today for you guys, it's Friday. So let's say you're going to do laundry, okay? You're going to drag laundry into here. Laundry gets dragged into here. And then if we open up laundry, I'm just going to show you what happened just now. It's not going to actually show you all the things that you want. And also, I believe it started adding like additional additional things that you don't really need, additional properties that you don't really need. But the good thing is you actually have this, step-by-step thing on what you need to do. So that's good. Okay, there's good things and there's bad things by just simply dragging it in. But I want to make them better. I want to make sure that this is a very intentional routine that you know exactly where it leads up to in your life. So how can we do that? Okay, so that's the question. How do we do that? So I'm going to Control Z here. I'm just going to undo that so that it moves back up here. And then we're going to add a few more things that's going to make this super, super important. So hear me out. Okay, so what we want to do is we actually want to link up our recurring workflows into our success plan. And the reason behind that is because you want to actually be able to set this as something that you can do recurringly for a specific project that you're working on. Let me explain. So let's say I have laundry, okay? And then I'm going to add a property. I'm going to call it a relation, and we're going to relate it over to the success plan. Okay, we're going to relate it over to success plan, and then we're going to see that we have a success plan here that shows like this. So I'm going to create a relation. Boom. And then what's going to happen is inside the success plan, this is for the demo data. Again, this whole system is demo, so nothing in this specific workspace is anything that's private. So all these workflows can essentially show you that I can link up to a project, okay? So why this is important is because people have been asking me time and time again on how can I link up a recurring task to a project that I'm trying to work on? How can I make sure that I'm relating this to a specific project that is important to me, right? Or at least if I have a project to, let's say, work out every single, and I'm sure we have a project like this. Let me just bring that out. I'm sure we have a project that is about working out. So let's see. Okay, so we have meditation exercises, that's fine. On complete projects. I'm sure there's one about working out, so I want to show you guys that one. Okay, cardio training, okay? You have cardio training. So let's say we have a recurring workflow that's on a specific, let's call this upstream actually, upstream, but we know that to be project. And then we're going to say that on every month, every Tuesday, we're going to be every single week, we're going to be making a 5 km run. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this and we're going to put cardio right here. So cardio becomes our cardio training. And then now we have something like this that shows us our very specific thing that we're going to do for our, for this quest, or for this project rather, for cardio training. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this a recurring workflow. And this is just the other relation on the other side. And I'm going to move it around just so that it fits right into here where we can see the downstream for recurring workflow is right here. So what do I expect when I drag it down now into our task list? Well, I expect that when I drag it down, I'm going to be able to see this 5 km run automatically relate up to an upstream that I care about. In this case, I wanted to relate up to our for the cardio training. So it's not doing that. Why, right? So we want to ask why. The question why is very important. So we can see that all those got emptied out. Okay, that's interesting. So what we have to do actually is we need to go into here, okay? And then once we go into here, and then we are able to say, okay, this one is for cardio training. And then we can see that this is the cardio training here. This is the upstream for this specific quest. And then what we can do here is we can drag this back up into like an empty space. I'm just showing you. And if I ever drag this back into here, it would still have that cardio training show up. Very interesting. But instead, if I drag it into here, I'm just going to show you. If I drag it into there, and then it will have, this upstream of cardio training still there. But if I drag it back into here, cardio training shows up again. So basically you can train your Notion, all right? Oops, I am not showing you exactly what I'm seeing, but you can see cardio training shows up again. So The important thing here, why this is so important, is because we actually want to still have a lot of intention when we're working on these quests. When we're working on these daily quests, it's very important for us to still have a lot of intention. So let me kind of show you how my workflow would be when I'm trying to do all these single quests, okay? So the first thing I would want to do is actually create the quest inside here and then start specifying exactly how difficult each one's going to be, because we still want to measure out the effort it takes us to do something so that we can properly, schedule it within the things that we need to do. So I use an example for a 5 km run. Let's do that, okay? So a 5 km run probably will take you an hour, right? If not a bit more if you're new to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this. We're going to set things like a new awesome task quest. We're going to hide all these extra properties so that we just have the things that we need to see, okay? And then what we're going to have here is we're going to ensure that we have, again, I don't think all these things in the bottom matter, but it's fine if you have them. I don't think it's a bad thing. And what we're going to have here is we're going to have our steps, right? We're going to make sure that we put on our Fitbit, for example, set chart a running course, so on and so forth, right? And then bring water and a snack and then do the run. So for example, right, these are the things that we have to do. Okay, so we can already see that these things are important to us. It's going to be a high impact thing for us to do. It's going to, right now it's in our backlog, but it's going to be working out. And then we're not going to put a priority because that priority is going to be something we put on later. Okay. So what we end up doing is if I drag this out to an empty space here, and then I put it into here, we can already start seeing that we have all these things, inside here, right? So again, we might want to refresh the frequency. Maybe this frequency is going to be something that we do weekly. Again, on the day of the week, it's going to be on a Friday. So what happens here is if I drag this out into here, let's see how that works out. Boom, we can see that it becomes a high impact. It's something that we want to do today. And then it's something that it's relating to cardio training. So this is the cardio training. Sorry, I keep forgetting to scroll down. But this is exactly how you're going to be able to see, all the things that you want to do to ensure that these are the recurring tasks that you want to do every single week on a specific date. Now, that's only one part of the puzzle. We're still missing two parts. The next part is how can we get this quest to show up only when you need to see it, only when you want to see it. And then the next thing is how are you going to make sure that you have all these single things that are going to be able to, again, replenish your task list, right? Because obviously it's not going to come back automatically because Notion doesn't have this capability yet, but how do we bring it back, naturally? So that's another really interesting thing to do. Okay, so let's refresh, right? Let's go back to here. Let's move it into here and then boom, it's back into here. And then what we're going to do is just reset our frequency and day of the week. Again, we're going to make it so that we don't have to keep doing this again and again. Trust me, it's going to be better. Okay, so let's figure this out step by step, shall we? The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that all these extra properties aren't showing up. So I'm just going to delete the day of the week and frequency. They are actually not needed because there is a way to not have them show, which again, I will brief you guys on real soon. Okay, so for example, we have a list view, right? And then we decided on the list view as well because we wanted to be able to see all the different things that are coming up. Okay. So what controls something coming up? Obviously, the computer doesn't know that, or Notion rather, doesn't know that Friday actually means a specific, today, right? Friday doesn't mean today. And it's not necessarily very clear what dates of the week it is today. Like this is just a multi-select. I can put anything in there. So what I want to do is I actually want to be able to read a few formulas. Okay, so this is where it gets a bit dicey. Again, if you're able to pick up our systems, you have this already included after I build this. So definitely don't stress. But if you want to, build together with me so that you can learn a bit about this as well, because I think it's a really interesting math problem to solve. Okay, so the thing about Notion is that you can have dates and you can see today's dates in terms of the day of the week. So how I want to show you guys that is, let's see, day of the week. I want to show you guys, let's do it like this. Let's do day of the week. So day, now. So we're seeing that today is a 6, okay? Day of the week today is 6. So there's a few ways that we can start matching this, okay? So we can say that the day of the week, so what we can do is two ways. We can have a formula that reads Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then essentially spit out that, hey, today, if the day of the week shows this, therefore the number is this. There's that one way that we can solve it. Another way that we can solve it is we can actually just add like a number to it, where it's like 1 is a Monday, 2 is a Tuesday, 3 is a Wednesday. I think that's a bit simpler of a solution because that makes it a bit more flexible for anybody to add their own languages as well. So if you're French, you know, you could change it completely however you want, right? So I am actually going to go with that solution, okay? So let me just double check. I want to make sure that the day of the week, so 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday. Okay, perfect. So Sunday is going to be a 0. And I'm going to move the Sunday up here. Monday is going to be a 1. So we're going to have a 1 like that. Tuesday is going to be like this. So we have a Tuesday like that. And then 3 for Wednesday, and so on, so forth. Very interesting stuff. And then we're going to keep adding. So Friday becomes a 5, and then Saturday becomes a 6, I believe, which for me is correct because today is Saturday for me. Okay, so I want to create an if statement. So if the day now is equivalent, well, first, let me also show you how to grab only that number, okay? So I'm going to just create a new property for this. Again, I will eventually combine both of them into one property, but I just want to show you guys like how this really works. So we show day of the week, it's like that, right? So we're going to do something called a slice property. Let me do a slice formula rather. Let me show you. And there's a few ways you can do this. I believe there's a formula that actually shows you only the number. If I can find that one, then maybe we can do that. But for now, let's see. I just want to take the first letter. So I'm going to see this. Okay, so slice. I only want the first 2, okay? I think 2 number won't work, but let me just double check that. I think 2 number doesn't work though. Oh, it does work. Perfect. Okay, that's work. So 2 number just works. So we're just converting that whole thing to a number. Perfect. So then I'm going to make it if statements. So we're going to say today, not today. Okay. So I'm going to explain what this is. So basically I said, if the day of the week of today, which is currently 6 for me, is a Saturday, matches, so equals means directly matches the day of the week, which shows on this, and it shows 5, then if it matches, then say it's today, otherwise say it's not today. So today I'll say a check mark, okay? I'm gonna add a check mark into here, and then not today will be an X. So I'm going to show an X here, and then we have an X. So it's not today. So if I change this over to Saturday, right, it will show today. If I change it back to Friday, it will show not today. Very simple stuff, right? But again, only intuit it after you learn about it. So I think this is really important. So we say today check. But there's one more interesting thing that I want to show here, where if I have both of them, it's still not going to show today. And that's the reason of using the doubles, double equals. I don't like using that because that means that it only can mean a specific variable. But I will also say, let me just double check because I want to make sure that I did it right. If I have the formula here, right, if I do 2 number day of the week, I wonder if we'll add both numbers. Okay, it doesn't add both numbers, but it will show the first one. Okay, very interesting. Either way, I think you should only select one day of the week. I think that's going to be a reasonable thing for us to do. So what I want to show you guys now is the first part of the puzzle, which is I'm only going to show things. So I'm going to do a filter. I'm only going to show where the today check contains a check mark. Okay, so I'm going to do a check mark. So you can see that these are all the things that I have to do today. These are all the things to do on a Saturday. Okay. And then I can see also that some things are meant to be done weekly. So I'm okay for this to show up every single week, but these things should be done monthly and they shouldn't show up every single week, right? That I'm looking on this. Every time it becomes a Saturday, I don't need to see these three things. So how can I also hide those things until I need to see them? Okay, so this is really important. There's a few ways to do this. You can do this in a very calculated way in terms of formulas, but I don't necessarily recommend that because it makes it very difficult for you to work with it later on. What I would just simply recommend is this. So I'm going to change this to a weekly workflows, and I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to say this is a monthly workflow. And then I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm going to make this into a quarterly workflow. So quarterly workflows. So what's going to happen here is on top of this filter, I'm going to add one more filter that says, and the frequency contains quarterly. Okay. For this one, I'm going to say, and frequency contains monthly. And for this, I'm going to say frequency contains weekly. So the important thing for this is because I want to make sure that I'm only seeing the things that are meant for me. And on the monthly workflows, I already know that it's going to be the first day of the month for me to do it, and I will switch over to that. So it's not something that I'm necessarily worried about. So it's something that I can continuously switch if I need to based on what actually needs to be shown. So I think this is really cool. This is really important, right? So, but I will also show you the smart way to do it, just in case you're curious, because I do think it's quite worthwhile to learn. But I think that it's not going to be as applicable all the time. And let me show you why. Okay. So for example, we can do another check that says if it's a today check, but I'm also going to do a check that says if it's a frequency check, okay? And this is where it's going to come. This is like the most advanced part of today's lesson. So if you're not following, that's totally fine, but I'm just trying to show you like some cool ways to use formulas if you want to learn how to get those things done. I'm also going to delete this done property because I don't think it matters anymore if we're able to do it the way that we want to do it now. Anyway, I'll show you what this all means. Okay, so we have something called a frequency check now, okay? So if we scrolled earlier, we actually saw that there was a few things that showed you the dates of the week, dates of the actual dates, okay? So returns an integer, okay? So what I actually want to show is the dates of now. What is it equal to? So today is going to be the 20th of this specific month, right? It's 20th of March. So generally, when I'm trying to do things that is on a weekly basis, so what I'm going to show is, you know, if the frequency, so I'm going to do a space. So if frequency, let's see, frequency equals to monthly, equals to monthly, then I want to show the, okay, I'm going to just paste that out for a second so that I can see it nicely. Okay, if the frequency is monthly, then I want to check if the date now is less than 7 or less than equal to 7, okay? So I'm going to do it right here since it seems like it's a bit bugging out. So equals to this, now is less or equal to 7. Otherwise, if it's a, otherwise, if prop frequency equals to, and I'm just gonna copy that. Otherwise, if prop frequency equals to quarterly, I want to make sure that it's not just the date now. And I'll explain all this, by the way. You don't have to worry too much. I will explain it all. But the next thing is I want to see the month. So month. So month is either a 3, a 6, a 9, or a 12 every single quarter. Okay, actually. So I'm going to do a month now. Is I wonder how I can do a multiple, like it's equal to a multiple of things. Huh. Okay, we'll figure it out. Otherwise, show we'll just show weekly. Okay, so the reason behind this formula, which is very, very complicated, but the reason behind this is basically we're saying, okay, if the frequency is showing that it's a monthly task and monthly endeavor, and the date now is less than 7, then I want to show something very specific, right? Then I want to, so I'm going to show, if it's the date is now less than 7, then show something like this is a, so this is a, let's see, this week. Okay, we're going to put that as a check mark. We're going to put a check mark for this week. And then this becomes a frequency, which equals to quarterly. Well, okay, wait. So this week, we're going to show this. Otherwise, okay, so we're going to bracket all of these things. And then I'm going to show otherwise show not this week. Okay. And then this, if it becomes a quarterly thing, otherwise if it's quarterly, let's see, otherwise quarterly. So if it's, okay, so this is where like formulas get complicated, and I will show you guys how this works. Okay, so if the prop frequency is equal to monthly, then show this bunch. Otherwise, okay, so let's just go otherwise. Otherwise, we show, I'm going to show just a test. Okay, so basically what's happening here is I'm giving a really interesting formula that shows you if it's going to be this week or not this week. And this is based on the dates today being not the first week of the month. So that's really interesting, right? So if it's the first week of the month, then we'll have a frequency check that shows, yes, it's going to be this week to be done. Again, I would rather all the different things that are meant to be done on a monthly or quarterly basis to be done at the beginning of the month. So the beginning of the month is very important for us to do. Okay, so we want to do the same thing also for the quarterly, okay? So let's think about the best way to do this. Because we already have a check that says this week or not this week, all we need to do is just add one more layer that says if the month is correct as well. Now, the quarterly goal is interesting because for the quarterly goal, it becomes something that we want to complete. Let me think about this for a second, because the quarterly, you can either do it on the first week of, let's say, April, so for the first week of July, which is 6, or we can do it on the last week of those times. So it's really interesting. It really depends on how you do it. Again, that's why I'm saying not really worth it to go too in depth for this. But if you do want to learn how to use this is exactly how you would do it. But again, there's just so many nuances, because like you might want to do it at the end of the month. You might want to do it at the beginning of the month. So my best bet is just to have these like monthly, quarterly, etc., workflows. I think it's just so much simpler for everybody involved, and you don't have to worry too much. Okay, So we've solved the first bit, okay? Or the second bit now we're here. The second bit, which was ensuring that we only see the workflows that we're meant to see when we're meant to see it. So I'm on a Saturday, I only want to see my weekly workflows. I'm only going to see the Saturday thing. Perfect. Like no doubt about that. That's pretty clear for me. And then for my monthly workflows, I'm going to see all this. And actually, if you want to, here, let's do it this way. I think this way it's even smarter, okay? So not only monthly workflows, but I want to call this first week of the month, okay? So let's call this first week of the month, and then we're going to show frequency contains, so this is turned into group, and or frequency contains weekly. So why is this important? Well, this is important because for the first week of the month, I'm going to see both my monthly things I have to do as well as my weekly things I have to do. Very important, okay? And then over here, we're going to show you, I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this first week of the quarter. And then this becomes something that I'm going to filter by, you guessed it, quarterly. And so actually all of them, quarterly, monthly, or weekly. So this becomes like, okay, it's the first week of quarter, these are all the things I have to get done. And it becomes very, very clean, very, very nice. And as I mentioned, now we can start moving them around, okay? So let's say we had to do something called like investment calibration this week, right? And let's say that it links up to something that we specifically have a project for. Again, if you don't, it's okay, but typically you want to have like a specific project or at least a specific, maybe we have a specific area that leads up to. So I'm going to call this, let's do it like this. We're going to call this one upstream master. So we're going to show, oh, that's not right, success plan. Okay, so we're going to show success plan here. And then, shoot, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to redo that relation. So I'm going to delete this. And then I'm going to add a property again. We're going to call it the upstream master. And the reason behind this is because we actually want to have this link up to a sub area, actually, not just a master. So a sub area. So we're going to relate this to areas of competence. And then we can see that we have areas of competence here. So this becomes something that we want to link up to. And then we can start seeing like all the different areas of competence that we could be linking it up to. So for example, this could be relating to finances, right? This is an area of finances. But rather, we want to link this to the finance tracker, okay? So basically what happens here, we can see, by the way, I'm just going to do this weekly. Okay, so basically what happens now is that we have this investment calibration item that's right here. Again, you're going to learn how to create this yourself, so it's perfectly fine. But basically what happens is I'm going to drag it down into an empty space, and then I'm going to drag it into my active quests. When I do that, basically what happens is I don't carry on all the different before we saw that there were these extra properties that populated, but right now that doesn't happen because we had a layer of no database in between. We dragged it to an empty space. Why is that important? Well, that's important because now when we start planning this out, so for example, I'm going to now take this and I'm going to make things like a new awesome task. Investment calibration might take me just 30 minutes, so I'm going to leave it that. It's probably pretty high impact. It's going to be semi-high. Okay, and then over here is where I'm going to put this thing. And then, as I mentioned before, there are actually upstream masters for this. So I'm going to add a upstream master of finance tracker. Okay, so this becomes the upstream master for that, which is perfect. And what I actually want to do here is I'm going to show something interesting. Okay, I need a better upstream page just in case that we have an upstream that's out of both. So I'm going to make a new property here. I'm going to drag this property into our upstream. We're going to call it upstream sum. Okay. And then we're going to make this into a formula. Actually, I'm not sure if this works. Let me just double check this first because it might not actually work. Upstream master. Oh, nice. It does work. Perfect. So we can show either the upstream. So we can show upstream as well. Let's see, upstream. Because we have two upstreams here. So okay, and then I'm going to just have upstream here. Okay, why was that important? I want to show you why this was important. Because when you have an upstream sum, and I'm going to hide this when we don't need it, basically is either we have an upstream that relates to our success plan, or we have an upstream that relates over to our areas. Either way, I still want that to show up, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to show the upstream sum, and now we're going to hide this. And now we can see that these are the upstream sums that we want, right? For example, this really just has nothing, so we're going to add an upstream there. But this can see, we can see all the upstreams here. So this one has to do with the finance tracker. This has to do with getting a puppy, etc., etc., etc. So this becomes really easy for you to actually see all the different things that you're meant to see. And if you want to keep the emoji there, something I recommend you guys do. Again, I can just show you some like a formula stuff now. I think this part of the instructive moments of a stream anyway, so I do like doing that. So if I have this, okay, so areas of competence looks like this, so SaaS plan looks like this. Okay, cool. So basically what we could do is we can put an empty thing here. So empty. Okay, rather, let's do this way. So prop empty. If it's empty, then show nothing. Otherwise, I want to show the, I want to do a emoji. Let's do, what is a master and tracker emoji? Maybe it is a chart, a graph. Okay, a master and tracker graph. I'm going to put a space, and then I'm going to put the prop upstream masters and trackers like that. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to add a format around this. And then we're going to add a format around this. And we're going to add a whole bracket thing around that. This should work. Perfect. So now we can see that this shows the emoji for finance tracker. Perfect. And for the other ones, because they're projects, I want to show also that if they format upstream, then I want to show a project. So what we want to do here is the same thing. So if it's that, then I want to show the empty. So empty, if the upstream is empty, then show nothing. Otherwise, okay, otherwise, I want to show a bunch of stuff, which is going to be a file folder. Plus, there we go. And I believe I'm missing one more thing here. Otherwise, this should be showing. Okay, so all the other ones are showing now, which is perfect. All I'm missing is how come this one's not showing the investment calibration. So let me go and make sure that's okay. So I'm seeing that, that's why. So this needs to be bracketed out, I believe. Okay, let's see what's happening here. I think basically the reason behind this is that we don't have the formula split up perfectly enough. Okay. So if the prop is empty, then I want to do this. Okay. So what I want to do is not plus that because it's probably not both. But what I want to show is this. And then so if the upstream is empty, then I want to make sure that the upstream message and that I want to check the upstream message and tracker is empty. If it is, then do this. Actually, this should work. Let me see why that's not working. So test. Ah, it's because this thing doesn't have. There we go. And then if I paste this into here, it should work, I think. There we go. Got it. So now we have finance tracker here showing, and then we also have these projects showing, which is perfect. So we can see the upstream sum is perfectly working, which is awesome. Okay. Anyway, the whole idea here was that I wanted to set all these different difficulties and the tags. And basically what happens is when I am able to drag it back, oops, I don't want it there. But when I'm able to drag it back into empty space here, and if I ever put it back into recurring workflows, right, it will still show me the Saturday, weekly, and all that. But if I take it out and then put it into the system, I'm essentially able to see again that it's going to take me one 25-minute block and it's already related to my finance tracker so that it becomes something that I can recurringly schedule every single week, which is awesome. Now, last piece of the puzzle. How do I get this into how do I make it so that I can replenish my weekly workflows every single time I'm working on them? Okay. So this is how it's going to work. Okay. We're going to do this through template buttons and I'm going to suggest it this way. Okay. So we have a template button here that we're going to call a replenish your workflows. Okay. Very cool name. Similar cool functionality. So what happens is basically, let's do a few of these, right? So we had the investment calibration and again, let's just also pull out the other stuff. So I'm going to bring back out the board view for the days of the month, just so that we can see all of these in a more meaningful, intentional way. So let's say again, we've done two of them. Let's do a third one as well. Let's do one for, let's say, let's do one for watering our plants. Okay, water plants. So water plants might not have an upstream, right? Maybe you do actually have a masters and trackers for keeping track of your plants and how much they need to get watered and all that, and that's great. Maybe you do something like that, okay? But the intention is I drag this down, I put it into here for the first time I'm doing it, and then I'm able to see, for example, again, how long it might take me. So maybe this water plants, like realistically, takes you like 10 minutes, right? So I'm going to put this, it's going to take you a 10-minute task. So it's 2 times 5, right? So you have a 5-minute task there. I'm going to say this is a medium thing. And then once we drag it in, it's going to be, ready to start our backlog. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so the idea here is that now we have this thing that we can go and we can say, well, we can create this as a new awesome task, right? New awesome quest. And basically this makes it so that you can go ahead and see all these different things that you can, go and do in terms of notes. So we have all these things now, which is awesome. And what we can do now is, again, drag it into here and just see how it looks if I put it back into, let's say, a Tuesday. So we look into here and then we see perfectly everything is fine, right? Everything works well. So what I want you guys to do when you guys create your own workflows is, and again, this is going to take a little bit of training, a little bit of work, but you only need to do it one time. So basically what you do is when you drag this out like this, right? So water our plants, you have your 5cam run, and then you have your investment calibration, or not investment calibration. Oh yeah, that one, okay? And then basically what you can do is you can drag them into your workflow toggle. So this is the template toggle, which you have. You can drag it into here, and then basically you can have this, you can close this up, and then you can see, for example, that they're not inside your workflow at all, right? So if I ever want to replenish my workflows, I just need to click this button. It'll create 3 tasks, right? The 3 tasks that we already had before. It might take a minute for that to pop up just because there is a lot of data in there at this point. Oop, and I want to make sure that there's a space above all of them. Otherwise, they will pop up. So I have a space there at the top. Okay, but what happens is if I switch back into my weekly workflows and I just drag them in, maybe you do this every single week on a specific date, it's really up to you. But if I drag this into my recurring workflows, obviously not all of them is going to show up. But what happens is I can go to my board view, and then I can start seeing all of them again. So all of them have this. Actually, they should have a day of the week. Let's make sure that happens. Give me a second. I'm going to delete this, delete this, delete this. I'm going to go back to a gallery view perhaps that doesn't have anything. I'm going to make this gallery view into a just a none. Let's just see that again. Let's see if that works well. I'm going to show properties for the day of the week just to make sure I have a good litmus test. Okay, so we have these 3. We're going to take these. We're going to drag it into here. Let's see what happens. Interesting. So I did lose the day of the week. Let's see how come that is. Okay, let's see how we can fix this. If I take just investment calibration now and I put it into here, I still lose the day of the week if I do it that way. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. What if I take this right now? I believe one of them should be today's. Let's see. Let's put this into here. Boom. That still doesn't work. Okay. Let's see if I move it out. What happens? If I move it out and then I put it in, what happens? Oh, really interesting. Okay, okay. I see a problem here, which I will fix right now. So basically, and I think it's really interesting being able to talk out loud for this too, is that I'm able to show you guys exactly how I think about problem solving and how this problem solving process works for me. So if it's interesting to you, I think that's something that you can learn from me here. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to put this into here. Sonia is asking, do you have to filter for the day of the week before you pull them out of the database? No, you don't actually have to. I'll show you the whole end-to-end process once I figure this piece out, because we're still in the middle of building. But like we've been able to show like how specific you can make it when you go and drag it out and make it into the specific day of the week that you want. So I will show you that real soon. So let me just make sure this works though. Okay, so if I drag this out, drag this in, okay, it keeps the Saturday, which is important. If I drag it into here, and then I drag it in, it still keeps the Saturday. Okay, okay. So it seems like it was just a minor calibration error. But let's just see. So if I have the 5km run, and then I have the water our plants, let's make the 5km run on a Tuesday. Again, doesn't really matter. We're just showing an example. And water our plants becomes a Monday. And then I take them into the workflow here. I take this into the workflow as well, the 5km run. And let's now click the replenish your workflows. And then what should happen here is it should automatically be working, and then we can go ahead and put it into here. Awesome, and it keeps the dates. That is beautiful. Okay, so let's show you how this works, shall we? I think this is going to be super, super cool. Let's have the whole breakdown of how this all works and ensure that everyone's ready to see how this whole thing gets put together. And by the way, I'm using a list view now because I think it's just going to be cleaner. So ideally, when you replenish your workflows, you have no more workflows in there. It's you're replenishing all the different workflows that you have. So let's also add a specific sort just so that it stays clean. We're going to sort by the day of the week, and we're also going to sort by the frequency. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so let's explain from scratch everything that we built today because I think it's just so meaningful for you to be able to see all the recurring things you have to do when you need to do them, and also in a very fun and engaging way so that you are always motivated to do the next quest, whether it be something tedious, whether it be something tough, but just in a way that makes it just so engaging for you to go out there and chase after it. So the first thing is inside your daily planning page. Again, this is a dashboard that's included in our systems if you'd like to use them. Otherwise, you can definitely just build them based on what I've been sharing in our live streams every single week. But basically, you'll see that based on the day of today, and for me, it's a Saturday right now, it's Saturday in Singapore. So it's showing me that I have to do investment calibration today. Cool. So if I have to do investment calibration today, right, I'm just going to take a look at my finances, for example. I'm going to drag this down into empty space, and then I'm going to drag this into my active quest. When I do that, it's automatically going to show me exactly how difficult of a task it is. It's going to show me how long it's going to take me. In this case, it's going to take me 25 minutes. It's part of my finance tracker. It leads up to my finance tracker, so I know the why of why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to maintain my finance tracker at my sub area. And then I can start planning this out within the context of my day. Is it going to be my first priority, my second priority, my third priority? Is it my fourth? Is it even my fifth, right? And whenever I'm able to then select that, maybe it's my fifth priority for today, and this can change every single day. It matters when you're actually going to do it. But then I'm going to go into my Make Life Simple page, and I'm going to see my Go Get That Bread page, which is just my page to, start making life simple, doing the things I need to do. I have a preferred view here. It's just up to you if you want to use it or not. And I have this place for no time block, which is going to show you exactly the investment calibration I have to do. Great. So I'm going to drag this. Well, it's a fifth priority. Maybe it's going to be the last thing I do in my last time block. So I put it into there, and then boom, I can now check it off. When I check it off, when I finish my work, right, and I actually hand in my quest, which I believe I need to drag this thing back up there because we don't have a hand in here. That's wrong. So let me go and do that. But when I go and hand in my quests, right, then I'm able to actually earn experience points and gold for finishing this investment calibration, which again is the whole point, right? We want to gamify the experience. So if I drag it into there, I earned 50 gold, it's completed on time, and I'm very happy. Now, I want to replenish my daily, my recurring quests when I need to finish them, right? Again, this is something I'll do maybe on like a Sunday, maybe like on a specific day, like every Sunday. Okay, so when you go ahead and replenish workflows every single Sunday, what you'd have to do is you just click this plus button, right? And I'm assuming also that when you do click this button, you've already completed all your other workflows that you had to do, which in this case was water our plants and other stuff. I'm not going to drag those in for now just because we haven't done those, because then we'll have duplicates. But basically what we can do is we can drag this into here, boom, we still have the Saturday, it's weekly, and because it's not going to be Saturday on a Sunday when we actually drag it up, it's actually not going to show. So that's again another really cool thing that's going to happen, and we can just keep replenishing this when we need to. But the most important thing is that it ends up syncing with our entire success plan journey so that we can actually go ahead and make sure we're working on the things that we're meant to work on. So I hope that was really meaningful. I know, again, as I mentioned in the early parts of the stream, there's a lot of ways that this could be achieved. There's a lot of different creators that have shown you different ways of how to make recurring tasks. I think my way is just the way that makes it as fun, as engaging as possible, because it links with the whole gamification of our system. And also it makes it more intuitive, where I'm actually only seeing the day of the week that I want to do that specific weekly monthly or quarterly task. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm really pleased to be able to share interesting insights with you every single week. If you liked it, please drop a like and give us a comment down below on what you liked most about this stream. And of course, stay in touch because we have a lot of new content coming out in the next few weeks. We're excited to serve you guys. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Please take care and bye.